Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Ingram Micro and AvePoint introductory webinar. You're hearing from Arun Mavani. I'm the National Sales Manager for Cloud. Today I'm excited to have our guest presenter, which is Andre Carpenter. Andre is the Director of Channel and Alliances at AvePoint. He's going to give us an introduction on AvePoint and how the product works around the cloud backup and the management of the AvePoint solution. And then from there, we'll take any questions. Please feel free to put any questions you've got into the chat box, and we'll get to those towards the end of Andre's session. After that, you'll then hear from myself. I'll show you where you can actually purchase AvePoint on the cloud marketplace and answer any questions that you've got around how that works. So, Andre, are you there?
Hi, Arun. Can you hear me?
I can. Perfect. Welcome aboard. Would you like to give yourself a bit more of an introduction to the people on the webinar today?
Sure. So, hi everyone. My name is Andre Carpenter, and I'm the head of channel and alliances for AvePoint Australia and New Zealand. Pretty excited around our partnership around Ingram Micro. It's a new avenue for us as a company. I'll get into a little bit on what our company is and what we do and where we've come from. But let's jump into the agenda. So, today is all about introducing AvePoint to you and as partners, and how we can help your business make recurring revenue on an ongoing basis. Oh, sorry, I skipped ahead too far there. Okay, well let's start on this slide. So, AvePoint was actually founded around 2001. So we've actually been in the business for quite some time. From a global perspective, we've got 6 million cloud users, 88 countries. Basically, wherever there's a Microsoft data center, we have a strong presence. We've won a number of awards with Microsoft. We're a gold partner of those, so we actually co-develop all of our cloud software alongside their Azure and Office 365 development teams. So a bit more about the Microsoft partnership. Part of my remit is to look after the relationship from a Microsoft and AvePoint perspective across Australia and New Zealand. We participate in the co-sell program. So what that means is teaming up with the Microsoft sales team and development teams to really take our solutions out to market and execute those through strong partners such as yourself. Some of the stats down the right there are all based in Australia and New Zealand, as well as some of the #1 co-sell partner in Japan as a key sort of recognition of how much we do with the Microsoft team. What's really interesting is you notice the acronym AOS. So that's something I'm going to introduce to you as the underpinning technology around what we do with Ingram Micro. And I think it's really exciting to say, when the statistic came out that we're adding 1 new customer each day across Australia and New Zealand, has probably gone up to about 2 or 3 now. So that's really exciting for us. Okay, so just waiting for it to come up. Okay, so if we look at the Office 365 ecosystem and the workloads that they have on, we sort of have a broad range of workloads and applications that customers are leveraging more and more and moving away from their traditional on-premises workloads to a cloud-based platform where they can tap into ongoing maintenance, ongoing services that they don't really have to care for. But one of the things that we recognize is a lot of that stuff is very beneficial, but they don't actually have a strong sort of play in protecting and managing and governing a lot of those workloads. So that's where AOS or AvePoint Online Services come in. So we extend the capability around Office 365 workloads, both from a backup perspective and also management and governance, and really sort of take that story that they have from a cloud perspective and add a lot more capability around it. What we focus in from an Ingram Micro perspective is around the protection and management. And management also covers migration as well. So customers that want to move from maybe it's on premises to Microsoft, or their Azure infrastructure, then we have tools that can help that. And as an ISV, we're looking for strong partners such as yourself to take that knowledge and build a services capability around. So here you see our product SKUs that we've listed with Ingram Micro. So we have essentially two flavors of what we call AvePoint Online Services, or AOS. The ones in red are more directed for managed services providers. So that is partners that are managing their customers' environments and offering things like backup as a service or cloud management as a service, or maybe that's a case of they're migrating their customer to Microsoft Office 365 and then managing it on an ongoing basis. So that's partner managed. So the stuff in the clouds in blue, when as a reseller you sell these services into the customer account, but they're actually customer managed. So they look after the backups themselves. They have to log into the portal and check. And sorry, I've skipped ahead there too fast. Okay, so yeah, so customer managed SKUs. So that's the difference between the two SKUs. On the back end, it's more or less the same system. It's just the way you log into the system is a little bit different. One is a multi-tenant view of multiple environments, and one is a single environment where the customer logs in itself. So why is this beneficial? So if we look at the three areas that we cover, by giving partners the ability to migrate their customer to Office 365, you now open up an opportunity to expand your portfolio to protect those workloads on an ongoing basis, and also provide some management that includes policy enforcement, security, and provisioning exercises. The good thing is, everything that we do with Office 365 is as a service. So we are an ISP providing software as a service and leveraging partners to take our software and make that recurring revenue. Okay, so this is my sort of screenshot where I'm articulating where there is that two versions of the software. On the left there is when a customer or a reseller sells our reseller SKUs to a customer. The customer would then log in on the standard or tab, and then they would see that only their own environment. On the right, you can flip to the partner tab or the MSPs SKUs, and then if you log in as a MSP, then you'll see multiple customers depending on who you've sort of brought on board as a customer of ours. So this is really our secret sauce. Everything that we do around cloud backup or management or protect is all underpinned by this thing called AOS, and it really is built a platform built for providing those as a service solutions. So let's have a look about what that sort of looks in once you log in. So I've got a couple of screenshots to give you sort of that view on way that MSPs would like to work is to log in, and the first thing they see is all their customers, what services they're currently consuming, and if anything is out of policy or expired, judging by obviously the sort of like the traffic light system. It's a very clean and easy way to see if there's anything wrong with your customer's environment and how to drill down and find out what that problem is. And the good thing is there's no sort of limit around how many customers you can onboard. So if you're an MSP and you're looking to onboard a number of customers, and each one of those customers may or may not have a requirement for different services, maybe one only needs cloud backup, another one may be just needing some government. This is the platform that can allow those sort of multi-tenant environments to offer different services. And they're all modular. So you can see there's a number of items under those two test customers. They don't have to be the same. That's why you can take out software and build a portfolio. The more they obviously consume, then the more you can earn on a recurring basis. So if we skip down to the customer directory, then this is another way to really drill down into what type of license they have. Obviously, we have trial license available for partners that are working on opportunities to show their customers the value of using AvePoint. And then obviously, once they sort of see the value, then we can upgrade to the, I don't know why, for some reason, I think it's a timing thing, but the slide just skipped ahead. Okay, sorry. So this is just a report. So this is a really easy way to see, what has happened in the environment over the last, say, month or week, and get a nice sort of pretty graph to drill down maybe from a backup perspective. You can see what the failed jobs are, or when they finish. So it's a really sort of easy way to report on your environment, on your customer's environment. And the beauty thing about this is it's also exportable to email and so on and so forth. So you can actually report back saying to your customer, you've met their required SLAs, and here's the proof to do so. So this is just the settings tab. So down the left there is where you set up those notifications. You can obviously punch some of that report information into an email and send it to your customer on an ongoing basis. That way, that gives them their assurance that their backups are working and that their Office 365 environment is actually protected. Obviously, you can also add multiple users for multiple reasons. We do use an RBAC style method, so not everyone has access to everything. You can control that as you see fit. Okay, so the first thing before we talk about how do you protect customers and how do you manage those customers in the cloud, maybe the customer's just not in the cloud yet. So one of the exciting things about what we do with Ingram is that we offer a way to get your customers to the cloud. So working in the migration field for quite some time, you'll see such questions as, what do we have in our current environment? Do we need to migrate everything? I don't know if everything needs to go across. Maybe we need to clean up our own backyard before we shift it to the cloud. How do we sort of answer these questions? A lot of it is, we don't want to transfer or shift the same problem that we've had today in today's on-premises environment to the cloud, because then that challenge is still going to exist once we migrate there. I'm just going to skip for the animations there. So part of what our tool offers you is the ability to identify or scan or discover that information in your environment or that data, and then identify what is needed and what isn't. And that way you can go through remedial exercises to perhaps archive some of that data across to a slower tier and not take it across to the cloud, or delete it entirely. The good thing is, if you decommission some of the information and infrastructure, then you're already saving money. So our tool is called Fly, or Elements Fly, and this is the source systems that we can help migrate to. So a larger part of what we're seeing in the market is customers that are migrating their file shares or their home directories to perhaps OneDrive, as well as teams and groups. SharePoint is another big, really sort of popular one that we're helping customers migrate to SharePoint Online. And we're starting to see a lot of interest around Slack, Box, and Dropbox from a file share perspective. Okay, so once we get customers to Office 365, then you want to be able to offer them a robust protection element, or a way to protect their various workloads that we spoke about before, and answer some of these questions that are always coming up when you're looking at data protection and recovery. So one of the things that I mentioned before is that we do extend what Microsoft Office 365 gives you out of the box, and provides a more granular way to take your backups, and obviously a way to restore. For customers that have a more aggressive RPO, then maybe some of them like 12 or 14 hours, AvePoint Cloud Backup for Office 365 can offer that. One of the good things is, Microsoft is fantastic, but they can't be everything to everyone. So they partner with us to sort of add that magic sauce and extend their capabilities. And the good thing is, obviously that's on as a service basis, which means it's a recurring thing. Customers don't sort of stop wanting to protect their information after a month or so. Okay, so here's some of the highlights from our AvePoint Cloud Backup. So this is only for Office 365. Obviously, our backups are taken 4 times per day. It covers OneDrive, Exchange, Teams, Groups, you name it. And it's a really good way to take this sort of service to your customer and say, we will protect your environment and we'll make sure that you only hear about it when you need to. The good thing is, since it's a proper backup solution, it gives you the ability to just restore, like if you delete one file or one email, just restore that one email rather than bring the whole lot back. So from an RPO and RTO perspective, that's a huge thing, and that's all part of what providing a robust disaster recovery solution is all about. Going back to that dashboard where you can put those reports into an email, that can also be your way to meet those SLAs that they put on you. One good point there, I was just about to skip forward, but everything's Azure based. So whether you're using your own Azure storage or using AvePoint's, everything's stored in Microsoft Azure. So if you are looking to drive up your Azure consumption and work with Microsoft around that, I'm sure they like you if you are wanting to drive up Azure consumption. All of our stuff, all of our software solutions is built around Azure and Office 365. So as soon as you start taking those backups, and that'll out of the box, that'll start driving the Azure consumption up. So once you provide a strong protection element around Office 365, maybe the customer has an environment where they need to put a bit more policies and restrictions around. So this is really our cloud management challenge, right? So how do we report on our environment, what we've got? Provisioning those environments are an ongoing task, so we need so many resources to do that. Are these kind of things, can we set policies around how these kind of look rather than having to do it on a manual day-to-day basis? Okay, so it's taking that initiative around reporting and management further. Is really the whole idea around cloud management is to reduce that number of operational overheads, so the human intervention, and free up those resources to work on other projects. Our cloud management software helps provision and manage those permissions based on a set number of policies that you've predefined up front, and almost as a set and forget type solution. So these are some of obviously the benefits I've mentioned before, but the main one for me, I think that really sticks out is reducing those overheads and freeing up those IT staff to work on other policies, and making sure a lot of this stuff, when you provision new Office 365 environments, a lot of those things are actually automated and defined by the policies that you create up front. Okay, so that's a little bit of an overview on our particular products that we have on Ingram Micro Cloud Marketplace. So how do you sort of take this as a partner of both Ingram and AvePoint and sort of make some money on it? If I sort of think of what the low-hanging fruits are, and maybe in your customer base that they don't currently have, or maybe you've sold them an Office 365 subscription, but they haven't actually got a backup solution that can give that more granular and extended capability on top of what Office 365 gives you out of the box. So that would be one of the first areas I'd look at and identify those accounts. The second one would also be maybe they're just not at Office 365 yet. So we've had a large amount of customers and partners come to us to help us help get them to Office 365, and that there is obviously a big opportunity to use our Fly Elements tool migrate them to Office 365, and then obviously once they get Office 365, then you can add them in a modular fashion. You can add backup as a service on an ongoing basis. Okay, so we're actually running a promotion. Part of the exciting thing of launching with Ingram is, I don't know why that's skipping forward all the time. Yeah, so part of the promotion that we've activated with Ingram is that we're running a $300 Visa card voucher, where if you sell a minimum of 300 seats into one customer account, and it's got to be at least 6 months consecutive, so it can't be just for 1 month. Keeping in mind that all of our SKUs, other than our migration, are on a monthly basis, then we'll send you a $300 Visa card voucher. And that applies for all reseller partners and MSPs. So it's valid for 6 months, so I think it probably takes us through to about June. But it's a good way of sort of really onboarding your customers and providing backup as a service, cloud management as a service, and using our migration tool to help them get to the cloud. Okay, takeaways. So more often than not, backup sometimes gets forgotten. It really is, when customers move to Office 365, they forget they probably need to back it up. The backup solution that Microsoft give you doesn't always meet the customer's required RPOs and RTOs. The ability to do those granular restores will save a lot of time in the long run. So backup could be considered fries to your Office 365. Everyone that migrates to Office 365 and Microsoft Cloud, they need to protect. Obviously, disaster recovery is becoming more and more stringent. That data loss is now sort of unforgivable. It's actually a requirement rather than a nice to have. Okay, so once we migrated them to Office 365, obviously speak to your customers about protecting those environments. And then obviously, usually more often than not, the managed part comes later. So once they're migrated and protected, then you can start defining your policies and how you can sort of automate those environments on an ongoing basis. We have a range of data sheets, trial keys, and partner portal for partners. Keep in mind, we have been around since 2001, so we're not a vendor that's sort of spawned up in the last year or so. A lot of the stuff is proven, and we have 8 million customers globally, so you can imagine there's a lot of collateral to help you sell, including myself, in those kind of conversations. The Visa card promotion, so that is 300 users over 6 months in one customer account, and you get $300 on a Visa card. Reiterating the point, everything is as a service. There's nothing that we do that is hardware or anything otherwise, and it's on a month-to-month basis. So it's a reoccurring way to gain multiple streams of revenue depending on the service that you add to your portfolio for your customer. So last thing I wanted to encourage partners to do is differentiate yourself with services. So rather than just provide backup as a service, also add more services to go in and help them learn the software. Because more often than that opens up to further opportunities and doors open. Okay, I think that's it from me. So I think that was about half an hour. Arun?
Yeah, all good. Thank you. So thank you, Andre, handing back to me. So if you have any questions for anybody on the webinar, please feel free to put those into the chat box now, and then we'll address those as they come in. Just whilst those are coming through, this is a really great opportunity. Some of you may have heard in ARN and CRN yesterday that recently Ingram Micro is now doing direct routing with Teams. Obviously now having the ability to make those calls through Microsoft Teams, you'll need the ability to back up those particular solutions. AvePoint Backup obviously is a great way to do that. And certainly if you have customers that are interested in the collaboration requirements around Teams and how that all works, this will provide a great solution to help them to be more productive within their business. So I've just got Tasha in the room with me, who's our product manager for AvePoint, and we'll just see if we've got any questions come through.
I haven't seen any questions, and I'm pretty sure I'm reading it correctly. I think Andre did a fantastic job covering all of the main points around the different SKUs. I guess I'll only add that in the coming weeks, we'll have better descriptions online that help you differentiate between the VAR and the MSP SKU. So it's just a little easier to understand when you're on the portal. But absolutely happy to have you reach out to myself, Arun, or Andre for the ordering process.
Excellent. All right. And also, if any of you are planning to be at Microsoft...
Wait, there are some questions.
Oh, there's some coming through. Just before we go to those, just a quick reminder about Microsoft Ignite running in Sydney next week. AvePoint, as well as Ingram Micro, will have a stand there at the event, so feel free to come up to either any of the Ingram team or any of Andre's team as well. I'm sure they'll be very pleased to answer any questions that you may have from today. Tasha, do you have anything there?
First question is from Kayla Bateman. Is there an jeepers, acronym I do not understand.
Oh, okay. Is there an NFR license, not for resale? Internal use rights license.
Sure is. So as a partner of AvePoint, there is a sign-up process which I can help with. Once you're signed up, and it's obviously an NDA that you have to sign that says that we can share you some cool information. Once that's all in place, then I can issue NFR keys. So I'm formerly a technical guy myself, and I've always thought the best way to learn new software is to run it up in your own environment and then break it and fix it.
Okay, Tasha, do we have any other questions?
Yep, I'm going to ask Paul, who's our webinar host, to read them out because he can see them and I cannot.
Oh, you can't. Okay.
No worries. Yeah, the second one is from Michael. It's just, is it possible to back up Office 365 Planner?
Yep. So Planner is obviously part of our Office 365 backup. So yes.
Okay, simple. And then from David, I jumped onto the webinar a little late. Was pricing covered?
I think slide on pricing, but we'll do that in just a second.
Okay.
Yeah, timing is perfect because Arun's going to touch on the Ingram Micro portal and pricing in 30 seconds.
Any more questions?
There's a couple more questions, quick ones, I think.
Sure.
There's another question about NFR, but just I think you already answered that one. And then there's also a non-for-profit question. Is there non-for-profit pricing? But I'm assuming you might answer those questions in the next section. So one more technical question, I suppose, is why is the minimum backup time only 6 hours? Can't the frequency be greater?
That's a good question. I know that we take backups 4 times a daily. So I guess up and above what Microsoft offer out of the box, which I think is 12 or 14 hours. Generally speaking, 6 hours is obviously a big increase in that. But as software develops, these things are only going to get better.
Okay, great. Yeah, apart from that, there's just a pricing question about NFP, so I might just let you move on to that section, and if you touch on that when you talk to that point.
We may actually cover that now around the not-for-profit pricing, because at the marketplace we don't have that set up at the moment. Andre, do you just want to touch on that one?
What was the question?
Is there not-for-profit pricing different to normal customers?
For the Ingram channel, the answer in short is no. Obviously, we have a set price list with Ingram, but the discount that we've actually provided around those are actually quite attractive from any kind of perspective. But we don't offer any particular non-for-profit SKUs with Ingram currently.
Okay. No worries. Well, that's it for the questions, so feel free to move forward.
Thank you, Paul.
All right. Fantastic. All right. Thank you, everyone. So I'll just quickly take you through just a quick overview of the Ingram Cloud Marketplace. Many of you may already be buying, for example, Office 365 on the platform already, but if we do have any new people who have joined the call this afternoon, the way that you typically buy new subscriptions for any of our services on the Ingram Cloud Marketplace is to the left of the slide there through the Cloud Marketplace itself. That's where you can select your service, you can select your customer, you can see the terms and conditions that apply around the purchase on the platform, and help you to go and pick other products that relate to the core service offering to which you're purchasing today. Also, if you're looking to make changes to existing subscriptions, so for example, you're looking to add an extra user or perhaps reduce the users that you've already got subscription services for, those are typically driven through either the reseller or the customer control panel, which allows you the ability to do the administration. For example, you want to run reports around cost of goods sold and general admin functions, account sort of section, looking at all that information there. That's all driven through the reseller control panel. And if you would like more information about that in more detail or a demo after this webinar, feel free to reach out to myself directly or any of the cloud sales team that will please take you through that in a lot more detail. So just very quickly, if you've not seen the marketplace before, if you need to go on, I've included on the top right-hand side there the URL to go on to. So it's au.cloud.im, IM for Ingram Micro, of course. We've actually put AvePoint under business applications, if you didn't know where to find that. And you'll see a nice big red arrow there to make that nice and easy to see on the screen. Some of you may also be aware we've got our major event for the year coming up in the US in San Diego, which is on the 11th of March. And that's our Cloud Summit 10 conference. It's our 10th anniversary, so to speak. And you may actually be interested in attending that. And if you'd like more information, feel free to click on that link or contact any of the sales team. So once you've clicked on that link and gone on to AvePoint, you'll see there some information about the product and how that fits. And I've just to fit it in the screen, I've just scrolled down there to show you what that screen actually first looks like, and it's clicked through twice. There are a list of those particular products. You'll see that there's two types of products. There's MSP or Managed Service Provider, and we also have the Value Added Reseller, or VAR for short. And the pricing is absolutely the same. Just so that you're aware, for MSP, the pricing that we've got on the marketplace is really just to help us drive the setup of the pricing structure within the platform. Obviously, as an MSP, there isn't actually a retail price. You do actually get 20% off as your margin, but there is not actually a list price on any of the products on AvePoint, and therefore there is no actual published or retail price. Just to make you aware of that. In there, we've got there, I picked, for example, there, Manage and Protect. You'll see it's all done on a true monthly SKU. So it's a month-by-month type subscription, as Andre's already covered. I've highlighted there the $3 option around Manage and Protect. You'll just click on Buy Now. And then from there, you'll see the next screen that comes up with the product. I've actually added there an additional user, so that when you actually select on the option, you'll get a single user. I've added an additional user there, and you'll see the monthly price has now increased to $6. Then from there, you click on Continue, and that will take you to a quick summary on my cart that shows the products that you have purchased. Also, you can buy additional services, not necessarily the one SKU, which I've shown there. And you then click on Proceed to the checkout. And then from there, you would enter the customer's details. Now, of course, as an MSP, that's not going to be necessarily required. You can actually put your own details as a partner in there. If you choose to, you can also include the customer name for reference or a purchase order reference if required. It's useful to include your customer name potentially in that field. So, for example, when you're going in to administer changes to that current subscription, so for example, you want to add an additional user, it makes it much easier to identify which subscription you want to amend when you're actually making any changes in the reseller control panel. Then from there, you just complete the other information, which is actually your information, the rest of the screen, and then just click on Continue. And that will then take you to purchase and proceed to place the order. That's really all I wanted to cover this afternoon. Just as a quick reminder, just to Andre's point around the incentive on the Visa card. He mentioned for any customers that you sell 300 seats, which have continued service for 6 months or more, you'll actually then qualify for the $300 Visa card. That's really all I want to cover today. Andre, were there any more closing points that you just wanted to highlight or call to action?
No, I think one of the things that Tash mentioned before is that we are obviously enhancing those product descriptions. So look out for those changes in the next month, and you'll probably see us also in other categories as well as just a business application. But I think that's it from me. Was there any other questions? I can't actually see if there is any questions to be answered.
Tasha, was there any more questions that have come up from the chat box?
No, I think that was it. Oh, go ahead,
There's no
Paul.
more from my end. There's no more from this end. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for your questions. Though those were good.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining today's webinar. We're excited, as I mentioned, to have AvePoint now as part of our portfolio. We think there's some really good options there. I've mentioned that the great backup opportunity around Microsoft Teams, and that will continue to evolve as far as what the solution can offer around collaboration for your customers. If you'd like any help around discussing that with any of your customers, feel free to reach out to any of the cloud team, and we'd be happy to help. Thank you again for joining us this afternoon. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.